What's going on, guys? Welcome to my podcast. This is my new series that I've been waiting to share with you all after I've hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. So I thank you all so much for that. We'll be doing this on various platforms, just to let you know. So I will have this on SoundCloud, and I'm going to try to get this on Spotify as well as iTunes as well. And we're going to try to get Google Play Music maybe in the next few months as well. We won't just be talking about the amusement park industry on these podcasts. It's going to also we'll be talking about like technology as well as food, just doing some other hot topics that are around the world going on. The name of this podcast series is going to be called Let's Talk About That. And I figured that's the perfect name because we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. And with that title, I can literally talk about anything I want. Let me know what you guys think on all this. These podcasts, I don't know how long they're going to be yet. Like I said, they're going to be on various platforms, but without further ado, let's talk about that. Now, as you all know, I did used to work at King's Dominion. Now, if you didn't know that, now you know. But I did used to work at King's Dominion. It was actually my first job. And I worked there for the 2016 season. When I put in the application for King's Dominion, I honestly was like, okay, let's just see what's going to happen. And I put in other applications at the time as well to like a few other fast food places. I mean, it literally was my first job. This was, what was it? I think it was during, it would be my 11th grade year. And it was going, it was basically my summer job for after my 11th grade year. So I was going to be a senior basically in 2016 going in 2017, obviously. Basically, literally like 2 days later after I put in the application, they told me that I essentially had the job and they wanted me to put an orientation date. So I ended up getting the job and I was a ride operator, or part of ride operations, that's what they call it. When I went to the orientation and everything, basically they just told you like the rules and guidelines and whatnot, basically like what you should be wearing. It really was a simple orientation. You got paid for it, obviously. And I think, what was the pay? The pay was not that good. It was like $8 starting. I mean, it was like a little bit above minimum wage at the time. And honestly, I just was trying to get a job to make some cash. I ended up getting a job, like I was saying. The thing is, though, for rides, they don't tell you the ride that you're going to be on until you start like your training date and whatnot. So at the end of the training day, I'm like, where would I like to be anyways? And honestly, at the time when Volcano was open, I was like, maybe I should try to get a Volcano or Flight of Fear or something like that. And I really wanted Flight of Fear at the time, and I wasn't really thinking anything of it. And I almost ended up in Planet Snoopy. Thank God I didn't have to go and work there for my permanent position, because I wouldn't have lasted a bit. I really am not a fan of kids, but I will deal with it if I have to, type of thing. So basically at the end of the training day and whatnot, the training shift, basically what happened, they were calling out where we were going to be at by name, and it honestly was literally at random. It did not matter. It basically was just going down the list and telling you where you're going to be. And the only advantage you had was if you worked there already, you basically went to the same ride that you were at before, prior season or whatever. So basically, I ended up getting Flight of Fear, and I was so excited. One, because when you work at an amusement park, you have to remember that this is during some of the hottest times of the year, and Virginia's weather can be very crazy at times. And especially during the summer, it can get almost up to like 100 degrees. Obviously, in 2016, it got super hot, but basically the advantage of Flight of Fear was that it had AC in it, so that was a huge plus for me. And you were in the shade essentially the whole entire shift, and by the time you honestly ended your shift, it was already like nighttime, so it was like, great, I'm going home. So essentially, fast forward, while I'm working Flight of Fear and everything, at the time, I didn't really see any videos of really what the inside of this ride looked like. I remember being like, why not just like someone should really make a video on that. And I was like, well, why not the someone actually be me? This is not how my YouTube channel started anyway, you guys. So just to confirm that, like, I was already doing other unboxings and reviews, And I still do that to this day because I like doing that, but I still love coasters, obviously. So I made the video, and turns out the video is starting to get a bunch of views. Here's where I kind of went wrong at. So I had an Instagram. It wasn't the same Instagram as I have now, but basically I was promoting myself, obviously, just trying to get the word out there. Basically what ended up happening, I had added King's Minion in the post, and they basically knew it was me, because I mean it was literally my name as like the profile or whatever. It was like Angelo dot something or whatever. I think it was like dot savage or whatever at the time. So I recorded like the inside of the coaster and the outer dome, just showing off literally just what it looked like. And this was like, I think before my shift had started, and I think part of it like I did after I got off, just because like obviously like they keep the lights on. People don't know that, but they keep the lights on for the Flight of Fear ride, so maintenance can like do their checkup and everything at the end of the day. The video ended up getting over, like at the time it was probably like maybe 10,000 views, and I mean that was happening in like maybe 3 months. And they ended up finding out about it. They called me up to the office one day, and they actually let me finish my shift first, and then they had called me up to the office. And I remember the lady, her name, I don't think her name was Maggie Sells. It was like something else. It was another person. But basically, she was the one who was like, oh, you did a good job on the video and everything, but you're not really allowed to do that. I already knew that we weren't really supposed to be filming the inside of like coasters and whatnot. I mean, if you're working there, obviously you can get some crazy shots. Just like Volcano and whatnot, people have seen the inside of that, the behind the scenes of say Intimidator or whatnot. So people have done it. It's not like you can't do it or anything when you're working there. You just need to make sure you're off of shift. And I always tried to be, I didn't want to film obviously while I was working. That's just stupid. But basically, like, you can film, like I was saying. It's not like you can't do it. The problem was that I went in a restricted area, and I went in like the launch tunnel area, and that's like the restricted area part. Now the other part of the video was literally it was around the fencing and whatnot. I didn't want to go through the fencing, but I had I forgot that like that was a restricted area at the time, and I literally was like, oh crap, that's right. I don't think they would have been as like upset. It wasn't that they were like crazy mad or anything. Like the lady was nice and whatnot. She wasn't mad. They were really glad. Like they thought the video was great. Like I remember them saying like, you did a good job on the video and whatnot, but you're not allowed to do these type of things. And basically what ended up happening, they were like, you're terminated. And that's basically the official word for saying you are fired on date. I don't even remember the exact day. All I remember, I was just like, it was raining that day and it was like nighttime. And I went home or whatever, and I wasn't like mad or anything. Like it was weird. Like I just remember I was like, maybe I should like continue what I'm doing. Like it made me realize maybe I'm really good at this, like actually creating videos. And that's kind of how I started making more videos on YouTube and continue to do more unboxings and whatnot, the on ride videos, the updates. And that's how it kind of all started. But after that day or whatever, I didn't work for a minute after that, I think. And like I didn't work until like I finished my senior year, because your senior year is like really hard, you guys. So for anyone's in high school, you already know, or who's graduated, you know the senior year and 11th grade year are like the most stressful years. So basically all I have to say on that was that I wasn't upset or anything. I'm not like regretting or anything what I did, because I feel like someone should have been shown what it looked like anyways, in my opinion. And Kings Minion honestly should do a better job. If anything, they need to do actual behind the scenes tours like Cedar Point does, or even Busch Gardens, Williamsburg does them. So I don't know why Kings Minion won't just do certain things, but you know, they act a certain type of way around this type of stuff. They don't want you to see what you should see, kind of Kings Dominion. They try to hide a lot of things. So, but anyways, next topic we're going to talk about is Copperhead Strike. This coaster is at Carowinds, obviously. It just showed off the testing of the ride. I personally think it was way slower than I thought. It was slower than the actual animation. And L2 Orion showed the comparison video, so you can check that out. I have it in the link in the description on my YouTube channel for those who want to see that. But yeah, I personally thought the POV of the ride, it looked okay. It wasn't anything crazy in my opinion. I kind of felt the same way about Fury, and then I wrote Fury and it turned out to live up to the hype in my opinion. I don't know, this ride just seems like it's going to be a great addition personally to Carowinds. and I think it's something that they need because they don't have a launch coaster period. So it is something that I think helps them. It adds another coaster to their park as well. They're now at 14 coasters, while Kings Dominion is now way less than that. We've gotten rid of 5 attractions in less than 5 years, like I've said before. But Carowinds, they're doing a really good job. I think they're headed in the right direction, and they kind of have all the things they need for this park now. And I think they're going to continue to do a great job. I really enjoyed this park. I'm going to try to get there, obviously, again this year to ride Copperhead Strike still. But yeah, I think Copperhead Strike is going to be a great addition. I don't know how the ride is going to be. I've never ridden one of those Maxx launch coasters yet. So we will see though. Now, Steel Curtain also, I have heard that they have started doing the lift hill. So that's some good news there. That coaster, I personally think that coaster is going to be really good. And even though it's by like SNS or whatever, I think they're going to do a great job. Even though like the supports and whatnot are crazy for the coaster, I think it's going to be a pretty good ride. And I don't think I'll be able to ride it anytime soon. That's not even in the plans for me to get up there because I'm in Virginia right now. So even with the plane flight, it would take a little minute. But I already have a bunch of parks plans for this year. So stay tuned for more POVs and updates on that. And I know Maxx Force also has started. They're not fully vertical yet, but I have put the supports up to go vertical. And I am recording this March 7th, 2019 at 1:12 p.m. So yeah, let's go ahead and switch subjects really quick. We're going to get back to the amusement park in a little bit, but I want to go ahead and talk about Galaxy S10, well, really the S10 Plus. Now, this phone right here, I have the S9 Plus right now by Samsung, and all I can say is I really enjoy it. I love the new software. The software update for One UI is great. I love the Android 9.0. Samsung really has me tempting to get this S10. I don't know if I can sacrifice that $1,500 price tag for a terabyte in a phone. The fact that we are now in a terabyte in a phone speaks a lot of how far we've come. Because I remember when just getting 64 gigabytes was something big. This phone is crazy. Like, the screen size is 6.4 inches. They now added the hole punch type of display, which I personally think looks 3 times better than what the notch had looked like. The notch was killing me. Every time I would look at it in the video, it was just such an eyesore. I don't know, when you look at the Galaxy S10, it's just like, that just looks right now. Like, it looks like that's what it should have been. That's what the notch it should have been. But obviously, sooner or later, we're going to get to just no notches. But this is all leading up to that point. But I think the hole punch is a great direction that they're headed in. And I hope to see a bunch of other companies do this with their phone or with their phone screens. Now, this thing has an octa-core chipset. It has 8 to 12 gigabytes of RAM, depending on the one that you picked. On top of that, like I said, the storage starts at 128 gigabytes, you guys. That's insane. Like, I remember when like phones would just had 16 to 32 gigabytes, and now we're finally starting a phone off with 128 gigs. That just shows what we're doing with our phones now. I did go to the store and try to check out this phone. I went to Verizon and they did have it there. The phone feels so light for all the power that it has inside it, and it just blows me away every time. It has so many cameras on it. It has 5 cameras, you guys. There's 2 on the front and 3 on the back. One's a telephoto. You have your standard wide. Then you have an ultra wide sensor, or you have an ultra wide camera lens, which I'm really intrigued to use. I hope I do get this phone soon. This has definitely helped me to make some really amazing videos, I guess you could say. Now, I do want to upgrade to DSLR sooner or later. All I use now is literally my GoPro. It's a Hero 5. It shoots in 4K at 30 frames. You don't need anything crazier than that. I already have a gimbal. I have the DJI Osmo Mobile 2, and that works very well. And then, like I said, I use my smartphone for the rest of my videos. So yeah. Now, really quick, we're gonna go ahead and change directions, and I want to go ahead and ask you all a question, and that is, what do you guys think of the audio? What do you think of the transitions? Just honestly, what would you like to see better in the next podcast? I know this is my first one, so it would be great to have a little bit of feedback. Right now, I'm just using a Blue Yeti microphone, and obviously I do want to get a better one sooner or later, but for the time being, this is what I have right now. Maybe in the future, if this does grow, I would like to actually have my face in this, although it will be a long video and it would take up more storage. the experience might be just a little bit better. But for right now, I think audio is perfect and you guys can just listen to me talk. So I am going to be having guests on this show sooner or later. I do have some people already scheduled and ready who want to be on the show and who I've asked to be on the show. So some of those people would be like the chain live. I'm gonna try to get like maybe Coast Studios on here. We'll see. There's also some other people on here that I would like to have, as well as some friends too. So just let me know what you guys think of everything from the podcast for right now, and I really would appreciate your feedback. But getting back on topic, let's go ahead and talk about King's Minion, and I want to just talk about them as a whole really quick. And it's not going to be really a rant, but it's stuff that there's some things that I'd like to see that King's Minion hasn't done, and I hope they do something about it soon. So as I said earlier in the podcast, King's Minion has lost 5 attractions within less than 5 years, which I personally think is pretty insane for a park to lose that many attractions and only gain maybe like 2 to 3 things back. And the stuff that we're getting back is honestly not equivalent to what we should have been getting back. So I'm going to go ahead and run down what we lost really quick. So we lost Shockwave and Hurler in the same year. Okay, we know that Hurler got turned into Twisted Timbers last year, 2018, and it was a phenomenal coaster. I loved it. The airtime is great. It is now my number 2 in the park. Now, with that being said, though, we also lost Tornado. We lost Dinosaurs Alive. Now we're removing Volcano, the Blast Coaster. Obviously, when I did hear about Volcano being closed, I was pretty upset. But, time's going to change. Sooner or later, it was going to have to close, bottom line. Even with all the updates that I did for that ride, I know they really did try. They tried to get this ride back up. It just was costing too much money. I already know it was. I was hoping that they were going to try to fix it. I really did think that King's Minion was trying their absolute best to get that ride working. Cost and demand, it just was killing them with the maintenance for that ride. So I understand completely, and you have to move on sooner or later and do something better with the park. So let's start with this. Losing Tornado, that was because of injury. We know that now. And my thing is, we need another raft ride at the water park. Honestly, how Water Country USA is getting a water coaster, that honestly would fit King's Minion pretty well. A water coaster, or we could honestly get a really long raft ride, and a raft ride would do well in the park mainly because we only have one now, and we only have Zoom Flume. So the other stuff is just slides. We have Pipeline Peak, you have Hurricane Heights and whatnot. There are a bunch of just slides, and there's nothing wrong with just having slides, but for a family who wants to all get on the ride at one time, you only have one option. So I think they're going to try to do something with the water park soon. I probably will be maybe 2020, probably 2021. So we'll see on that though. I know now their main goal is obviously we have to get another coaster to replace. Well, we lost Shockwave. We got Delirium for Shockwave. Delirium was a cool ride. I personally think though that if you were going to spend that money on Delirium, you might as well have made something like Maxx Air. That's what I was hoping, that we were going to get something like that. But it turned out to be, it's a pretty uncomfortable ride, mainly because when you have a bunch of people on, yeah, it fits 40 riders, but they fit the 40 riders pretty tight on that ride. They have the slowest operations in the park, like bottom line. It takes them about 5 to 6 minutes for the ride to actually start. On top of that, when you get on the ride, you're already sitting in the sun, or usually it's cold outside when you're riding it. And what I don't like is that the ride cycle is probably the shortest ride cycle I've ever seen. Like it feels like the ride was like, it was like start and then okay, we're done. So I personally think they really should make the cycle time longer. I'm pretty sure that's possible within the settings of the ride, but I don't know. For all the time that you have to wait for, I think they should make it a little bit longer in my opinion. Like we said, losing Hurler though, that wasn't really a big deal. Obviously, we knew either RMC was going to happen or it was going to be a hyper coaster. One of the two was probably going to happen. We got the RMC. It was great. I really loved it. They did an amazing job with Twisted Timbers. So I'm not mad about that. Hurler was pretty rough ride. It was worse than Grizzly, honestly, at its closure. It was pretty bad. So I'm glad that they did stop, and I don't think they honestly could even maintain it anymore because it was so old. For Dinosaurs Alive, that was probably I was actually really happy when we lost that. That was a really big fail. Not on Kings and Minion part, but honestly on Cedar Fair as a whole. It just didn't go as well as they wanted it to. And with that being said, I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with that, because honestly, we could have got a coaster in that area. That area is actually big enough for us to get some type of small coaster. And that's why I had said a Raptor could honestly go there. It would actually be a perfect spot. But I don't think, like, if we get a Raptor or something, it wouldn't be just the Raptor. It would be like a T-Rex model. And Kings Dominion is a large enough park that gets enough attendance to be able to get a T-Rex, I personally think. So, but with losing Dinosaurs Alive, I think everyone knew that was coming to an end sooner or later as well. I don't have a problem with Kings Dominion removing attractions. My big deal is that we're not really getting anything big enough in return, I guess you could say. It's like a bad investment almost. We have Fastlane Plus at the park, and I remember when we just had Fastlane. We don't need Fastlane Plus at Kings Dominion anymore. Like, the only coasters that really deserve Fastlane Plus would probably be Dominator, Intimidator 305. It was Volcano on there, but it never was open, obviously. And now it's Twisted Timbers. But like, the only other ride that you could really do would probably be Flight of Fear. That could replace maybe Volcano spot, which I don't know, they might do that in the future. But really, there's no reason for Fastlane Plus at this park. Like, if you come during a weekday at Kings Dominion during daily operation, there's usually almost never anyone in this park. Like, just come on maybe like a Wednesday, and I promise you there shouldn't be anyone at this park besides maybe school bands or choruses. But getting back on topic, like I said, losing Dinosaurs Live wasn't as bad, and we all knew that was kind of coming. Now, losing Volcano, I think we all know that Kings Dominion has to pretty much give us a coaster at this point. And we were probably going to get a coaster within the 5 years. I personally think we were. I don't think we're going to wait another 8 years again. Now we almost have to get a coaster within the 5 years. They don't have to. They don't have to if they don't want to. But I'm saying, for attendance wise, I think it's definitely needed that we do get a coaster of some sort, whether it be a wooden coaster, another launch, whatever. We're going to need a coaster, because it's just, I feel like the attendance is just going to really plummet if we don't get anything in 2020, because they haven't announced a single new thing for this year besides the fact that they repainted the Intimidator trains, and you can check that video out if you want to. I'll leave it in the link description on my YouTube as well. On top of that, we got Dominator got a new chain lift. I did see a blog or article about that on their website, so that's good news. But essentially, it just seems like they're just putting a lot of work in on the maintenance side of stuff, and that's a good thing. What else are we gonna get? Like, I understand we did just get a coaster, so that makes sense. I thought we were just gonna get, honestly, some new amenities, and I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna end up getting in the end. I was hoping that we were gonna get a new entrance for sure, because Kings Dominion definitely needs a new one. Our entrance is very outdated now. It would be a nice touch to have something like a Cedar Point entrance or a new Carowinds entrance. I'm gonna get some water really quick, and I'll be right back with you guys. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like Kings Dominion just, there's so much stuff that would make this park better, and it's just little things that would honestly just help the park in general. And with the new lockers and everything, I'm not upset about the lockers, but I am upset about the way that they did them. $2, first of all, $2 for 2 hours, I get it, it's $1 per hour. Obviously, I think that's a generous enough time. But what I don't like is that I feel like you should just have an all-day price, such as like what Busch Gardens does, like $5 for a whole day, or $6, however much it is now. Or like how Cedar Point does, and they're just like, okay, it's $10 a whole day, and you get this medium-sized locker or whatever. So I think they need to do something or implement something like that. They do now have all-season lockers or all-season locker rental, and I think they're only in certain areas though. So you can't just use the ride ones and be like, okay, we're using that all day. I think it's certain all-day rentals that you can use, like the ones to the front of the park. They're probably gonna add a couple more now in the park as well. I'm looking forward to see the changes that they've added for the 2019 season. Even though they're small, like I said, they will help. Hopefully they will help. Last but not least, I guess we can go ahead and talk about the trips that I have planned. I have gotten my trips planned, not for the exact date, but I do know the parks that I'll be going to, and they're going to be Hershey Park. I'll be going definitely to Cedar Point, obviously, this year. I'll also be going to Carowinds again, like I said before. I really enjoyed that park, you guys. I really enjoyed it. That was a very nice park in my opinion. It was great going to another Cedar Fair company, just in general. I guess going to Kings Dominion so much it makes you kind of tired, I guess, seeing the same things. So it was good to just see something new. And I'm gonna try very hard to get to Dollywood, but I have to see my schedule and everything, how that's gonna work out. But I really want to ride Lightning Rod, of course. I will be going to Busch Gardens Williamsburg for sure. I really need to refilm my POVs for that park. I really would like to refilm everything. I'll probably end up going there a bit more than Kings Dominion this year just because they're getting a new swing ride and Water Country is down there, so they're getting that water coaster as well. So I will probably try to get down there and get some POV and some more footage for that park because I really did like the park. The theming was fantastic. So yeah, but that's all the trips that I have for right now, and I'll keep you guys updated. Like I said, I don't know the official dates or anything yet, but I know I'm going to try to probably get down to Carowinds first things first, to check out Copperhead Strike. Thank you all so much for tuning into this Let's Talk About That podcast. I hope you all did enjoy it. I really enjoyed doing this for you guys. Let me know what you think. The voice, the audio, once again, in the description or in the comments for me. And I really hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, I want to definitely broaden the platform for where I'll be broadcasting, I guess, and posting these podcasts. So like I want to try to do iTunes, Spotify as well. They're going to be on SoundCloud for sure. And like I said, the main platform will be YouTube as of right now, though, mainly because that's where everyone can see this podcast. They can comment and whatnot, and it's just easier all around for me to do it on YouTube. But I would love to have it on other platforms. So yeah. But once again, thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.